Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Singularity podcast, only single player's official podcast with single player topics. I'm your host, Jay Scott Brown, but as always, I'm joined by a couple other lovely only single player members, Alexis Tamari and Josh Atkinson. Good afternoon.
Hey, Jay.
Hi, kind sir.
This is the musical edition.
That had some rhythm to it, didn't it? Wow.
Oh, yeah. You know
Not
me.
bad at all. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a few topics to discuss today.
Top that, Josh.
First up, we got a discussion on Mad Max, since it's very much not in the spotlight at all due to obvious reasons, and a discussion about achievements and if you're on PlayStation trophies and I guess Steam achievements as well, even though they are definitely less relevant. We're going to have a discussion on that and how it kind of relates to games. I know I'm burning everyone
Zing.
today. I'm taking
I was
all
going to
down.
say,
Master race.
what a sting. Oh, my goodness.
We're not even talking about it yet, and I'm just laying into it. And
are
finally,
salty.
exactly. And finally, a discussion on game difficulty and how that kind of impacts the single-player experience in itself in terms of, I guess, enjoyment versus challenge, and we'll get into that a bit later. But first up, we're talking about Mad Max. As we said, for obvious reasons, it definitely has not been the spotlight for the past week. I think it maybe was one of the worst ideas in the world to try and release a game alongside Metal
You're the
Gear
worst
Solid
idea
5.
in the world. You're
No,
stupid.
wait, come on. I know you're a fan, but seriously.
Oh, dude, you have no idea of this game. It is insane.
Yeah,
Or
so
should we
I mean,
just
I
say
haven't,
insane
I haven't had a
balls?
chance, so I have a lot of questions because I am excited to play it. I liked the most
Fire
recent
away.
movie, Fury Road. I don't know how you guys feel about the movie, but
Loved
tell me
it.
Oh,
about
the
game.
movie was great.
Dude, Tom
like-
Hardy got me Tom Hardy.
Oh my god.
Nice.
Here we go.
Man.
All right,
it.
that was it. Peace. Bye.
Podcast
Dude,
over.
Drop mic. I thought I was the one that dropped the mics. I mean, the really good thing about like the new game is first of all, I hated the original films. Alexis hasn't seen. Have you seen the original films? Did you say you'd seen them?
Of course
can't
I
remember.
have. Yes.
You've seen the Mel Gibson ones because
Of
I didn't
course.
like them. I didn't think
Well,
they were
okay.
that good.
They were like pretty much like, 70s sci-fi movies. 70s movies were different from movies today, okay? You gotta watch
Yeah,
them
but-
in a like 70s
I mean,
sci-fi
they were
mind.
like. I mean, there was that weird thing where like was the second one the one with all those weird like Thunderdome kids, or was that the third one?
No, that's the third one. That was literally Mad Max 3 Thunderdome.
It was just kind of, I don't know, it's just really weird stories, and they didn't really put much. It was kind of like the Waterworld of like post-apocalyptic movies,
What?
like just
You're
not that much
comparing
action, just a
Waterworld came after
lot of wandering and
Mad
stuff, and
Max.
so. But you know what I mean, like that kind of template, and so it wasn't great to me. Like nobody really likes Waterworld either. But then like Fury Road kind of changed it because they had that kind of like the original Mad Maxes had like really bad budgets, while this one had like a fantastic budget, so like
yeah.
George Miller could like make the movie he wanted, and it was literally just a car chase. And the cool thing is, the game is just a complete and utter one-to-one rip-off of the movie in such a good way, and that's what I like so much about it. It's literally just the movie.
Can I pose a question to kind of, I guess, start,
Mhm.
get the gears going? I felt like with the movie, especially like in terms of cinematography, the way it was kind of portrayed is that, there wasn't really a protagonist. The protagonist tends to be, or at least the focus tends to be the environment, the world, the setting, everything
Mhm.
Oh
about
my
it.
god,
This
yeah.
And that's how
crazy-
Mad Max is. And that's
Yeah,
exactly
does
how
the game
movies
kind of
Dude.
reflect that, I guess?
Yeah.
It is so insane. Go on, Alexis, it's your turn. Go for it.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, that's exactly how the movies are meant to be. And okay, you guys don't get it because you didn't like grow up on it, grow up watching like Mad Max pretty much every weekend. That's all I did. My family was really into those kinds of like I watched all those old 70s sci-fi movies with my dad because those were dumb and stupid, and like we'd watch like when did Maximum Overdrive come out? The one where like all of the like electronics take over and kill people. Like it's just those dumb, stupid, fun movies were great. And
I'll tell.
in the
Like, I mean, I grew, like, I'm 26 now, and I watched Alien for the first time when I was like 5. And like after that, I was just in love with that kind of like really old sci-fi kind of, where it's like old computers, but they tried
Yeah.
to think like beyond what it would actually be like 2015. Now we've all got iPads, and they just didn't, they were still using like DOS for some reason, like in all these films.
the old computers.
It came out in 1986, and for the record, it has a 17% on Rotten Tomatoes.
What, Maximum Overdrive?
Yep.
That movie was the best. It was so good. No, but the game really takes like more, obviously you have to focus more on like Mad Max, but um yeah, I mean it's really more about like, okay, this is how you're going to survive in this environment, and here's this like huge group of weird wanderers and factions and the Hunchback of Notre Dame guys and like pale bald skinheads and good
You're just
luck.
thinking of like every little bit that you've come across in that game.
But that's, I mean, like that's the thing. You never come across like a normal human. Like Max is really the only normal human in the game.
I I think the one thing that was really really cool about it is that like all the movies kind of like tell us like just a random story as part of his legend. There is no kind of like timeline. It is always just about the drive of this lone wanderer. And so what they've ended up doing with this game is really taking advantage of that, where you could make so many Mad Max games because there isn't like a chronological order of how his story goes, or like a lot of people think if it is the same Mad Max, people sometimes think that he gets replaced by somebody else. And so there's that thing where they can kind of take advantage of that, where they don't have to kind of follow the films and and think, oh, okay, well this happened in this one, so that means we need to continue from that. They can actually do it from the beginning, the middle, the end, anywhere, and that's what's really
Yeah,
cool. You don't even know where he is in that point of his life, and so they
exactly.
can. It's so awesome like that.
That I mean, and that's pretty much Mad Max though. Like, there's always like when you're in a post-apocalyptic desert wasteland, probably in
Yeah.
Australia, because let's be fair,
Of
in the
course.
original
Yep.
Mad
Yep. Yep.
Maxes, they were all in Australia, right?
Yep.
Um, you're going to run across like all these big, powerful dudes all the time, and that's going to be what it is for every movie, for every Mad Max movie, for every Mad Max game. So
Mm.
yeah, they give it like really wide berth, like, oh, let's go beat up these bad guys. Oh, you finished with that one in that section of the map? All right, move on. There's another bad guy. Let's get to
Mm.
Gastown.
Have you actually got that far yet?
No, because all I'm doing is driving around collecting scrap and historical
Yeah.
artifacts,
I
which
mean,
So I
I've
takes
only
guess
up
played like.
100%
Go
of the
on, go on,
time.
sorry.
I've moved on from doing Riddler trophies.
Yeah, no, the Riddler trope as well. No,
Pretty
I get
much.
What my next question, I guess, is more about like in terms of like the actual gameplay sides of things. Is again, I mean, Josh put it so aptly. The movie is essentially this just car chase that just goes on
Yeah.
for 2 hours. Does the game? How does it kind of combine this third person action open world thing with the emphasis on customization and all that car stuff
It's
that's so
yeah.
awesome in the movies, right? Does it really reflect that in a
It's
certain way?
it's
Yes.
really interesting
Yes.
because when I was playing it, like my first impression was it is Batman combined with Shadow of
Yes.
Mordor with more Batman
Yep.
in his desert. So like you've got your Batman combat, which is also like Shadow of Mordor, so it's like X to punch, Y to do your counter
Yeah,
Harry.
attack,
yeah, yeah.
and then if you get more powerful through the combos and you do more damage, and even it had a little bit of, it was kind of funny. It's like they had actually played like all the DLC to Arkham Knight, so like the Harley Quinn DLC, where the when he gets like a really super high combo, he starts to do like these uber finishes where he'll just take down
Yep.
enemies like
Shiv
instantly, which
Punisher and
yeah, it's
yep.
like there's so much you can do. And the really cool
Except for
thing
with
as well is that
yeah, 100% more killing.
the car combat is so much like Arkham Knight as well. You've got the side swipe, like literally pressing
Yep.
like left or right on the analog stick, then pressing X,
Yep.
and he just slams into the cars. Even has like the
Hmm.
grapple hook, which is a little bit more weaponized in this.
It's
So
not a
instead
grapple
of
hook,
like
it's a
just using
harpoon.
it, well, like a giant whaling spear, but
Yeah.
instead of like just using it for environmental stuff, you can literally aim it at cars and pull the
Yep.
driver out, which is so awesome. Like when I did
That's
my live stream of it, I actually hooked onto one driver and dragged him through the sand all the way back to my base, and he's just ragdolling everywhere. It's so immersive, and so they just did it so right with just the visual quality of how you just take down enemies. It's not just like simple like harpoon and then the guy falls out. There's like bits flying everywhere, and
oh
all that
yeah.
destruction. It's really in depth for such a underdog game, which is really cool. I don't
Mhm.
know about you, Alexis, though.
I absolutely agree. And the as great as Batman is, which is obviously wonderful, they definitely took it to the next level where obviously there's 100% more killing because Max doesn't give a fuck and he just kills everything that he sees. But but also like yeah, I mean like the it doesn't they don't have it in many like very many like takedown combos. Like pretty much I've just gotten like beat him with a shiv kind of a thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Um But the car mechanics, and that's what's different. I mean, like about Batman, you could pretty much ditch the car and like, fly around Gotham all by yourself, just like Arkham City and Arkham Asylum. But Mad Max, you have to drive everywhere. Like
Like,
there's no way that you can just run around the desert.
Was the
and
driving
the
It
funny
picked
gets
up?
thing
so annoying.
That's the thing, because like with Arkham Knight, they were trying to like propose this idea that it's not just Batman, it's also the Batmobile. Like half the game is one character, and the character is this vehicle. But it
Mhm.
kind of didn't work in a way. Like the vehicle kind of gets ignored like halfway through the game in a sense.
Yeah,
But in Mad Max, literally the vehicle is so important. Like
it
when you
is.
first get it, like it's called you lose the black on black, which is the V8 from the
Yep.
movies, and then you
Hmm.
get as the as Chum Bucket, your little side kind of like Notre Dame dude, as Alexis was
Yep.
saying. He has this idea, this kind of religious kind of like
Magnum
car
opus.
idea, the magnum opus. And the awesome thing is, it's not just a replacement for the V8. It can be so many different types of car. Like when
Oh
you
yeah.
actually go to, you start with just like a skeleton for it. So it's just the frame, it's just the tires. Even Max is like so disappointed in it. Then you actually have
Hmm.
to go and, like in the movies, there was that whole thing where they all religiously liked it was the steering wheel, wasn't it? And each steering wheel was for
Yep.
one certain type of car. And so you
Hmm.
have to go do that. And you have to pick the body, the shell of the car that you want. You can have things like the V8, or you can go like way back into like the Chitty Chitty Bang Bang days type of thing. And
Yo, yeah.
it was,
Yep.
and they all have different names and stuff too. So it's not just like a thing where it's like, oh, you're just getting the V8. It's like you can have one called Death Rattle and
Yep.
Thunder Org or something
Well,
like
that
that.
and
And
that's the Mad Max lore. I mean, like you pretty much have to have your Mad Max dictionary open to understand whatever the hell anyone is saying in this game,
yeah,
especially
totally.
fucking Chum Bucket. It's like they're all it's like so far into the future where they forgot about books and no one is learning anything. And Max is literally the only person left um with an English, like an understanding of the English language.
Yeah,
Um
kind of. Yeah.
So
which
in
gets
that
really
sense, does he kind of aptly kind of embody what the player kind of is feeling in that world as well? As
Yeah.
exactly.
so
Oh
See,
yeah.
alienated.
he's such an onlooker in it, and just observing how these characters kind of interact with him, like again with the whole religious vehicle thing. When he's introduced this new type of vehicle called the Magnum Opus, Trumbucket kind of like reveals the plan for it, and it literally looks like some kind of weird, like the Renaissance, like anatomical, like muscle and
Drawing on the
skeletal thing
wall,
over
yeah.
yeah. And it's so like that, and that's what all these characters believe in now, because that's all they know about is about
Is yeah,
fuel
driving.
and vehicles, and so it's so part of it and so kind of built in. It's really cool how they've just been able to kind of make you see it and like believe it, in this like simple little game world. Really, really cool.
And
I
I
loved it.
love how much customization there is. There is so
Oh
much.
yes.
But the other side of it that sucks is that then you have to drive around and
It
collect scrap.
sucks.
No, I'm saying you have to drive around and find all this different scrap all throughout the desert in order to buy all these upgrades, which
Sure, yeah, yeah.
drags
I
down the
mean,
plate. I mean, like, I have barely progressed in the game itself because I'm just trying to upgrade my car enough to beat all these
So
guys.
could
And
you maybe make a kind of analogy with like the whole idea of kind of some RPGs where you find XP like exploits, and you can kind of just instead of doing the main missions, you kind of spend all this time boosting your character, getting
oh
all the
yeah,
funny,
like all your
funnily
skills.
enough, you
yeah.
can't do that. You can't do that because if you basically the missions require you get a certain amount of upgrades. So if you over upgrade your vehicle, the game actually says, well, you can only use this type. It's kind of like is it like Gran
Oh,
Turismo and stuff where they say you can only use this type of car in this certain type of circuit, and so you've got to
Mm.
kind of go by its standards and rules, which is
yeah.
kind of unusual, but I mean,
Well, and
it kind
also
of makes sense.
it'll limit you though too. Like a lot of stuff won't pop up until you're further along in the game, which obviously is pretty much for any video game, but that's how I found that they've kind of limited you. But I mean, even so, I can probably sit down and play for an hour and not even touch the main story of it, which by the way, I don't know what my next mission is at this point. I've been looking on the map for some sort of marker. I literally cannot find what my next marker is. I've taken down like oil refineries and other like different little outposts that, before you go and like take on the main dude. But like it doesn't tell me. It's like, okay, for like in order to beat this guy, you need to like first do this or that. Maybe I wasn't paying attention that I just didn't notice it, but there's so much side quests. I mean, you're constantly looking for scrap to upgrade the car. You're looking for this guy named Griffa to give max upgrades for like
Mm.
fighting and like being able to find ammo and your health and find water and all this stuff. And as much as like as cool as this game is, and I love it, um, I'm gonna be at this game for like another 6 months,
Yeah, yeah.
just trying to finish it.
Well, one of my friends played like 10 hours of it, and they're still not, as you were saying, hasn't even touched the story because he's just so
Yeah.
busy just exploring the world and stuff. Like, I've only put about an hour and 30 minutes into it. Like, I've got to the first hideout thing. Love the game
Mm,
so far. Like, it introduces so much to you in the first hour, which is probably
yeah.
why I like it so much. It doesn't kind of like breadcrumb you slowly, which is cool. So you don't like kind of
Hmm.
get bored and go, oh, well, I wonder what's, oh, now I get a present. But it's not like that. It's just give, give, give. But like I just got to, and this is something to do with the more on the environment side of things. Like I just got my first air balloon where you get to see the entire like
Yeah,
landscape,
section.
and oh
Yeah.
my God, even when you're just driving, but just seeing that in that the even it's just a desert, it's just
Hmm.
so beautiful. It's just it's the but this is the funny thing because this brings up Phantom Pain. It looks so much better than Phantom Pain, which is just so saddening that because Phantom Pain's getting this so much love and it looks just like Metal Gear Solid 4, yet Mad Max is just such a step forward, you know?
I
And
mean,
it's
as far
like no
forward
one's
as you can
appreciating
get,
it.
though. You can't
Yeah,
really
but
get
it's
too
like
far
the
forward in a desert, like
but the
post-apocalyptic like landscape, you know?
but the visual aesthetic for for just such a simple kind of bland thing, it looks so like the lighting's just fantastic and how like sand just goes everywhere and like
When
when
you
you're just like in
step.
this air balloon. Yeah, well, not even that, just driving and this, like, when I was saying about
Yeah.
dragging people with your harpoon, just, like, the sand, it looks different. It looks like it's got its individual particle, and so it doesn't feel like it's
Yeah.
just like a repeated texture. And then, as I
Rocks
was
make you
mentioning with
slide.
yeah, and it's all destructible as well. Like you can bash
Yeah.
into like a cliff, and a chunk will come off like Red Faction
Yeah.
or something, which was
Yep.
nuts. But then with the air balloon thing, like when you're up and about and you're like looking at this entire like wasteland, you can see like individual cars from different bandits just driving
Yep.
around, and it's just
Hmm.
those little details of immersion that just really brings you into this world. And I just really appreciate, it just shows that even though Avalanche Studios haven't really done that many like big name games, this is just such
Hmm.
a step out for them, to give them a chance to be really like seen as a really kind of capable developer.
Yeah,
Thumbs up.
yeah. Well, I have another question about like the actual kind of gameplay side of things in terms of
Yeah.
like a third-person action game. So you guys compared it pretty, like contrasted it quite a bit with like Batman and Shadow of Mordor
Mm,
and stuff like that.
mm,
So in terms of a third-person action game where the majority of the gameplay is going to be focused on that whole, hit counter type thing, how
Hmm.
much of like does Mad Max, in terms of me as like a consumer, I'm in, EB game. Oh, well, not EB games. I guess that's like a shiny thing. I'm in game or wherever your local thing is, right?
mm.
I'm there and I'm like, I'm picking between all these games, all these new releases. Because I agree with you, Mad Max has definitely not been in the spotlight, and in terms of what it offers as a unique third-person action games, I'm thinking the stuff like Cars and
Hmm.
all the like kind of unique missions that it'll do that's different. So
Yeah.
how much of a focus is there on the third-person action typical combat side of things that we've come to be really kind of get like I guess a little bit exaggerated now? And does Mad Max offer me so much that's unique where I really should
Hmm.
focus my attention on it, I guess?
Yes. There.
How do you
That's the
mean?
answer.
Why is that?
No, no. I would say it's probably about 60-40 in that like it's
Yeah, I was
probably
gonna I was
I
gonna
would
say that too. Yeah.
60% in the car and 40% in like hand-to-hand combat. The only problem I'm having so far with the combat of it is there's just not that and I mean the story is different than like I always think of it compared to Batman because Max doesn't have that many gadgets. He like Batman, if he picks up a melee weapon, it eventually breaks after so many hits. But he
Mm,
doesn't have like a tool belt or like he doesn't like adapt his fighting style. He like doesn't have like cool like finishing moves. It's literally like, okay, you punch the guy so much that he just kind of like just falls down.
Just stops
Not
getting up.
like not like after so many combos you like can do like this cool drop kick or something
Well,
cool. You know what I mean?
you kind of can though, because like you've got all these different like tools on you. You've got like the shiv takedown. You've got the shotgun, which is really a really cool idea they did was that they limited ammo for you. So generally,
Hmm.
like for me, I've been carrying around maybe like two shells because obviously you've got like a double barrel.
Hmm.
And so
Yep.
like one thing I found out when there's that first group of enemies when you just survive against is what's he called? What's the main bad guy called? Scroticus or
Uh,
something?
yeah, Lord Scrotus,
Of course.
Lord
Lord
Scrotus, yeah.
Scrotus.
And he's got like a unicorn dong, like little like panty thing. It was so weird when he jumped off his vehicle. There's just this literally like a horn on his like crotch
Spoiler,
protector.
spoiler.
It's so weird. But is it a spoiler? Because I haven't played that much yet. But then
Well,
like but then with the combat though, like you do have the shotgun which you can join in with the combat too, so you could do like a few punches, then do like a really awesome like finisher where you could like blow half the enemy's health off with a shotgun shell, and they fly across the screen. And then you got things like I know you can actually unlock more upgradable kind of like combat moves. Again, I haven't really done that yet, but you've got like the heavy attack, so you can just hold down X in between a combo,
yeah, but
and
that's
then
not
he'll kind of they like smack them in the face and knock them down for good. So it's not much. I mean, you don't have like a special finish where you press like triangle and circle to like
yeah.
do like a Batman
That's what
finish or
I was
anything like
looking for.
that.
It's like you're literally just mashing X the entire time. And you make it seem like, oh, the shotgun and the shiv. That's like one thing. And the shotgun, I don't shoot any guys anymore because I know that I'm probably going to need to conserve my ammo. You can literally only hold up to 3 shells. That's the max of shells
Which
that
is
you can.
good, which is really good. I
Yeah,
kind of appreciate that. So you can't really
of
take
course.
advantage of
Yeah,
it.
because then you can't just go around shooting everyone. It's not a
Yeah.
first person shooter for sure.
And
But
they've also put things like evasion into it a lot too. So like with
oh, the
it's
enemies. I love how the enemies fight.
yeah.
They
So
definitely
how
don't
does
just like
how's
lay
that
down and
different to
die.
like Batman and stuff?
They
Well,
actually
it's not really
evade.
different.
It is.
Oh
It
well,
is
yeah,
completely
yeah, yeah, no,
different.
no,
They
no, no, no.
evade. They move
It's
around so much.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, but at the same time, like the things with how when it gives you like the dodge indicator to like counter and stuff, they've got like a red one and a yellow one, just like in Batman too. But it is cool that they do dodge you, which is really, really awesome. But with that kind of how the combat plays out when you fight against them, it's still very Batman-y, if that makes sense. So if they
Yes.
do a heavy attack, you have to dodge that heavy attack. You got to roll out of the way. You can't go like, I'm a badass, I'm gonna block you with my pwn fu or
Mhm.
anything like that.
Yeah. So that's just my perspective on it. I mean, it's really good and the fighting is great. It just gets repetitive because there's really not like much different you can do. There's absolutely zero sneaking. There is no crouch button, so they give you no option for any sort of sneaking, which you're in the desert. I mean, everyone's going to see you coming from a mile away anyway. But
But that was kind of cool too, is that instead of doing the sneaking thing, when you have to go into a base, you've got to try and like take
you
down
got to go
specific
guns
parts of the
blazing.
base. Yeah, so like I think it was in the first one, you've got to first get into a vantage point, you've got to use your binoculars to scout the
Yep.
base, the outpost, whatever they call them, and then
Yep.
say if they've got is it like a fired gate to like a
They got
flamethrower to stop you getting
yeah,
through the front
they
door.
have fire gates and they have snipers
So you've got
usually.
to like harpoon
And
those
then like
away.
people who throw
That's
like
the only way to get
Molotov
into it.
cocktails and stuff.
And then there's that weird guy on like a weird like musical trumpet thing, and he can
Yeah,
like
war
battle cry
crier. He has
the enemy.
like
Yeah,
yeah, he's like didn't I'm pretty sure they had a war crier in like the movie too. And it's like literally a dude hanging from like a crane and he's got like noisemakers and like like the one man band kind of a thing.
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
The
that
guitar,
was
they
like
get
the
the flamethrower
best.
guitar guy. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And they
exactly. That was
just
fucking
and then his
badass.
literal purpose is just to give buff to all of the guys that you're fighting so that they're just a little more like difficult for them to like lay down and die.
Yeah, that's awesome.
which was the weird thing because with the references to the films and stuff, I don't think they really because the whole war boy thing with these enemies that you fight that are supposed to be like kind of people who are on like death's door, but they're kind of like Uber warriors and stuff. I always thought that was just part of Fury Road and Imogen Joe's kind of gang. It's kind of weird that everybody is a war boy, like all these enemies that you're fighting, they're all like part of the same gang, but they've just used that inspiration from the film for enemies in the game. And so all the gangs don't really feel different. They just all feel very the same. If I don't know if that kind of you felt that as well, Alexis.
Yeah, I mean they are I think from like this in terms of the story, I think all of like the outposts, like big bosses are like bosses underneath the big guy at Gastown. So that's probably where that comes from. But they did have like whenever you like the only food that I've come across besides um, besides maggots, which is disgusting, and that's an achievement, and that would be a great segue. So remind me. Um, but you can you the only other food that I found is dog food, which is a
Hmm.
callback to the original Mad Max's because he would carry around dog food, and like that was the only food that they had. So they do have like elements of the original Mad Max. I'm waiting for the Mel Gibson cameo appearance, but
Or the
Yeah.
you know,
DLC skins.
yeah, yeah, something.
Nice. Yeah, pre-order skin, surely. So I guess ultimately, as you said, yeah, it might be a good time to round it out. But in terms of just, I mean, because seriously, I mean, I wouldn't know about this game if I didn't follow the movie or didn't follow its release. I would be
And that's what
surprised
you,
if any average gamer or consumer knew that it came out. But
yeah.
what would be your kind of, I guess, would you really plea to the gamers out there that this is an experience worth having in 2015?
Oh yeah, because like as mentioned, it's not connected to any kind of like chronological order of the story whatsoever. So you can just go into this completely blank
Yeah.
and just learn about this world and stuff. Because again, the legend of Mad Max is just about a guy who wanders and helps people, and that's literally
Yeah,
what the game's about. So you don't have to know about his past. It kind of hints a little bit, like how he lost his family and things, but you
yeah,
don't need to watch the movies to understand what he's going through and stuff because that is him and you're just seeing that as the game unfolds. It's always been what it's kind of like Batman. You don't really need to know
yeah.
how Batman became Batman because he's Batman. You know, he kicks
Right.
ass. And so Mad Max is literally just that. You don't need any kind of go back. You know, like in like Destiny, where it's like, here's this story, but you need to go read the grimoires and stuff
Yeah,
like that to
Jesus
understand the world.
Christ.
You
Yeah.
don't need any of that crap. Don't go on Wikipedia. Don't do anything like that. Just go into the game and enjoy it for what it is, because it's not trying to force you to learn everything about its lore, because it doesn't
Yeah.
need to
Right.
be.
Awesome. Alexis?
I was saying yes. I was agreeing with what Josh was saying, but I would say yes if you're a person who's looking for something a little bit different, a long game, definitely. That, I mean, you're definitely gonna get your hours plural worth of $60.
It's just one
Um,
hour.
no, 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 yeah, 1 hour game.
Whole
You're done
game.
in like you're done in a day. No, no, no. It definitely is something different. It takes elements from other games that have
Yeah. Mm.
um done like the Batman fighting style. They've definitely Batman fighting like that's perfect, and it definitely took from that and combine that with driving, customization. It's definitely worth it. I'm not that far again in the story enough. I'm a little bit further than you, Josh, I think, but I'm definitely not. Yeah, so suck it. I'm definitely not far enough in the story to tell you whether like the story itself is really
Yeah.
great and like you're gonna love it in the end. But
Mm.
it's definitely one of those like I guess what people like about Skyrim where you're just walking around all the time.
Could we
Yeah.
say that this is the game that Rage should have been?
Oh,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
This
actually,
like when
yeah.
I was playing this, I was thinking this is what Rage was supposed to be. You know,
It
it's
took it
got it's
took
got
it
this
took
cool
me
idea.
it took me a couple seconds there. I'm like, because I just erased that from my mind. I'm just like, what are you talking about? What's that rage? What?
Yeah.
There you go. All right, cool. That actually is a nice point to round out that. So that's Mad Max. If you do have in some sort of intrigue, then go check it out because yeah, as we said multiple times, it's definitely been kind of like the stepchild of September at the moment in
Yeah.
comparison to Metal Gear. And I totally agree with what Josh is saying. Like, I'm just so, I mean, I haven't got into Metal Gear Phantom Pain yet, but I'm just so intimidated by the amount of lore I got to catch up on and playing Ground Zeroes as well. It's just, there's so much stuff to really kind of get into. Mad Max, you can just buy it and play it, which is quite
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
and just
just go
kill
for it. Just go for it.
beat
Yeah,
people,
for
drive
sure.
cars, and there's gasoline and fire.
And the one thing to quickly note as well, there's actually, if you've seen the film Fury Road, where they end up getting chased into that giant lightning sandstorm, that is
Yep.
in the game. You can do
Yes.
that. And I so want to
Yes.
see that. Like, one of my friends said he
Yes.
did it, and you actually see all the vehicles get sucked up into it, kind of like
I
Superman's
got
dad in Man of Steel. Like,
I
I
yeah,
want
I
to see
got
that so
stuck.
much.
I
Kevin
got stuck
Costner,
in
just
one of
Kevin Costner's flying everywhere. Like, get out of here, kids! Just like,
I got
sounding.
stuck in one of those and there's actually like extra like unlockable things like discoverable things that are only revealed in a sandstorm. And even if you're in your car, you get pelted with stuff. Your car starts on fire. If you get out, you get pelted with stuff, you die. Like you definitely don't want to get stuck in the sandstorm. It was the most terrifying thing I've ever been in. But it was really cool. Very visually, very cool.
Okay.
We should start with. There's too much to talk about. It's too exciting. We'll have to talk
It
about it again
is.
another time.
There's a lot of elements in that game.
Follow up
So
when we finish
Yeah,
the
I mean, we
games.
definitely might do a bit of a spoiler topic in the future if when we do,
yeah.
we'll finish it. Yeah, for sure. But the next topic we're going to talk about today is the idea of achievements and trophies, and it sounds weird to say the idea of them because it's been around for so long. So this is maybe a bit of a dated discussion, but I'm always thinking about it just personally because I just like it's always kind of baffled me how we have almost this cult subsection of the mostly console community. I'm not trying to, as I did before, undermine the PC Steam achievement community.
You nerds, you
yeah,
stupid.
They've,
Please,
yeah,
get
exactly.
out of
they've already
here.
gone. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're talking
they've
to
already
no one
they've
now.
already
They've
tuned
already
out.
gone.
It's fine. I can bag them all I want now. But I'm always fascinated by it, and so much so that I even have really really close friends that are just. They're always having platinum battles. Who has the most platinums? And on Xbox,
Yeah.
obviously, it's like who can get the 100 gamers or 1,000 gamer score first in each thing. Yeah, it's crazy stuff like that. And I'm interested to see your guys' opinions of it because I have a pretty definitive like view on it myself. So I don't know, Alexis, you seem pretty disturbed by that.
No, because I'm one of those people. I love to try and 100% a game because I feel like I don't want the game to get the best of me. I want to get the best of the game.
Is that
Now
what that feels like when you get that
yes,
1,000? You're
I
just
feel
like,
like
I
I'm
beat you,
like I'm
bitch.
yeah, I'm like bend to me. No, but
Oh,
I
God.
definitely have not 100%ed all of the games in my collection because I do have a life outside of video games, believe it or not.
What?
But yeah, that's
Ah.
crazy. So I like to try. There are some games like Batman that I will 100%, but there are games like Halo that I will not, only because their achievements are absolutely ridiculous, and there's no way that I'm going to even try.
In comparison to Batman with the fucking Riddler trophies, are you joking me?
Oh
But,
no,
you know,
that's so easy. It's so easy.
yeah,
It's just
compared
time, I
compared
Don't
to
guess.
the
complain.
Halo
Don't
ones.
complain about the Riddler ones because they're so easy in Night. Arkham City, they are a pain in the butt 'cause you got the Catwoman ones as well. But when it
Hmm.
comes to Arkham Knights, it is a steamroll. It's so much better.
Yeah, compared to Arkham City, yes, but they still do suck in their own right. But Halo ones, it's more of like you have to have skill. You know, who has skill?
Yeah, I mean the really annoying thing now is that they're putting multiplayer ones in, which is kind of
Yes,
Yeah,
a bit
yeah, yeah.
rubbish.
and that's
Like
what's
with
wrong
Destiny,
with it.
yeah, like with Destinies, there's the whole thing with it kind of frustrates people as well because with trophies, it's more supposed to be like an achievement. But then, say if you're having to kind of do it by the rules of the game, like play mechanics that the devs have actually put into that. So, like with Destiny, if you want to get the raid achievement, you need to find 6 people to do it with, and there's no matchmaking for that. So that means you're having to go out of your way to find these 6 people, try and do the raid just to get the trophy, and that is just a giant pain in the butt. Like I don't even see myself. I'm probably going to get every single trophy, achievement, whatever for Destiny, but that one because I cannot be bothered
Hmm.
to find 6 people who are willing to do that with me.
Right,
It's
you haven't
just
done
a
the raids
giant
yet?
effort. Oh, I've done the Prisoner of Elders, but I'm just trying to find like 5 people even just to try and do the
Well,
Vault of Glass.
Josh,
Is it?
Josh
I'll
doesn't
let
have that many
well,
friends.
Josh, yeah, you can count on looking for 4 people now. Just give me a
I've
buzz,
got
buddy.
I've got a team of 5, but they all well this is a side thing, but like it's so hard to get them all together in one
Oh
room at
yeah,
one
yeah,
time.
yeah.
It's freaking ridiculous.
Josh
That's
I
just
think
it.
doesn't have friends.
a
He
lot of
just
the
doesn't
time
want to
though,
say
like
it.
a really good but at the
He's
same
trying.
time though a really good thing with a lot of these games too is that they're constantly updated now so that like with Destiny a lot of people now instead of doing the raids currently are waiting for this new update so you never know it might become a little bit easier where you don't really need like 6 people or something because obviously when they first came out they're a bit broken and they were really hard like if you look on the if I think it's I don't know if you can get this on Xbox but you can see like the rarity of trophies that have been achieved on
Yeah,
PlayStation
yeah,
4
yeah.
Yeah.
and so if you look at raids, it's like on rare, I think, like rare 12%, which means that only like 12% of people that have bought the game have ever actually been able to do a
Have
raid.
actually gotten to level 34, bothered to even do yeah, exactly. For
Yeah,
sure.
with 6 people. And then there's that one for not dying in a raid with your clanmates. It's like, who has the time? And I'm sure that's like at 0. 0,000 billion or something.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. No one has time to do that.
Yeah, actually, Steam achievements do a similar thing, and I actually really like that feature. It's probably the only redeeming feature in my opinion, because honestly, it disturbs me how much thought and effort developers sometimes put into achievements. Oh, and I don't know. It's never gotten to the point where I'm like, this is too far, because honestly, as long as it doesn't really obstruct my experience, I don't really care. But it always is kind of just comical to me when I'm playing a video game and I got like a buddy in the room. One of my buddies who's just like completely obsessed with trophies and stuff, and I'll just like because you just accidentally get trophies. I think my PlayStation account, I've just accidentally gotten a ton of gold trophies and stuff. I'll get a trophy and they'll be like, "Oh, press your button, find out what is it, press it, do it now, quick!" And I'm like, What? Who gives a fuck? It's just a little buzzy notification. It's like getting a notification on Facebook. It's like, sure, okay, I might look at that at some point. Like I'm invited to some random friend's band. Okay, cool. I don't care. Like move on. It just doesn't. I don't know, man. It's just like I just don't really. I have a really contemptuous attitude, I guess, towards.
And that's what's great about the Xbox One is it tells you what the achievement is, how many gamer score it's worth, and what you did.
Does it actually tell you? Like you don't have to click into it now?
Yep.
Oh wow, that's next level.
Cool. Mm.
Because
Next
I remember
level.
on PlayStation,
Microsoft.
PS4 is still behind the times, because I know about this because I've seen it on both now. Because on PS4 you have to open up the trophy, which takes forever. It takes so long.
Then you get locked up in the blade.
Exactly, and you actually, if you want to check your trophies, you have to like sync it with your account. Like it's not just retroactively, it's not just updated. You have to go into your profile, sync all your trophies, and that takes at least another couple minutes. Like it takes a while. Especially,
the weird thing about
it probably doesn't take long for other people. For me, I never check, so it takes me ages.
It's like maybe a second for me, but like with the really unusual thing that with what they've done is on the PlayStation. Well, the PlayStation 3, you could do it offline, but on PlayStation 4, you have to be on the internet to look at your trophies now, which is really weird. So like if you're playing like a game off like say Batman and you've got no internet, you play the entire game again with no internet. You won't know what trophies you've got, or if you ever got any in the first place, because you need to be online for it to sync and then show the list of trophies. On the PlayStation 3, you can actually just go offline and see the trophies you unlocked, which is so backwards to me. I don't know why they did that. But it's this thing about having to be all online centric now, which is so weird. It's like I don't even know why they did it. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's confusing.
Maybe we're just old.
Yeah, probably.
We don't get it.
I'm just too old for this shit, man.
You're just too old. You just turned
I
19.
for
You're a
achievements.
baby.
No, I'm too old. For achievements, I think I am too old. Because I feel like I feel like everything's set up for me to be so involved with this. And I've tried. I've honestly sat down and been like, okay, this is the game that I'm going to platinum. It's going to happen. I can feel it. I'm going to beat my friends. It's going to be great. And then the second, like, I finish playing the game and I get that people, I guess, the way that it was described to me is that, because to me, it's honestly like I play games for fun and or for an experience. And the second I'm done with that, I'm not just gonna start doing random things the game wants me to do to get a little, I guess
You're
it's
not
like
the boss of me.
yeah, pretty much. Like it's like collect all these trophies and collectibles, please. And I'm like, you're not operantly conditioning me. Excuse me, I'm not doing that shit. Get out of here. And I've tried to do it. I've sat down and been like, all right, let's do it. I'm gonna get all the posters and the cards, whatever it is, and I'm like, and I get like the first two, and I'm like, this sucks. So much.
It's
What am I doing?
It's like those weird ones as well that make you do such redundant things. Like, there's one where, like, say if I just have to sit down in a game, and it'll go, ka-ching, you sat down in my game.
Yeah.
Or it's like, or you'll get 5 for just like pressing the X button on like the main menu. It's like, you're playing my game. Well done. Or just Or if you have to sit through, oh my god, if you have to sit through the credits of Destiny and listen to that Paul McCartney song just once is such a pain, which is an achievement into itself. And they did that on purpose, just so you had to get that achievement/trophy. You had to listen to that goddamn horrible song that they paid so much to make. And that's what they're doing now. That's how they're making their money back, by luring you with achievements.
Yeah. But that's the way it was described to me. It was like, well, okay, Jay, you don't get fun out of doing that, but I get the fun out of grinding and getting that. Like, it's not even a grind for them. They just that's like how they play video games. It's like they finish it.
they're achievement and trophy focused versus I'll
I would
play
call
the
them. I
game
would
for
say I would use the
fun
term
and then I'll
whores,
go
but yeah,
back and I'll say, "Oh, was this game fun enough that I want to go back and maybe
yeah.
see what some of the achievements are and try and get them." That's how I play it. But yeah, I'm definitely not one of those people that's like, "All right, let's sit down and not play this game and have fun. Let me just focus on getting all the achievements."
Yeah, so much so that like they'll even like my buds will even look up the trophy list before the game comes out
Yeah.
and be like, how do I optimally play this game through the single player or the
Yeah.
multiplayer to get as many of these as possible?
I used to
Um,
do that.
yeah, like
Um,
You
I don't
nerd.
understand that. It's that
You
level of
fucking
like,
nerd.
oh
well,
man,
Who
I don't
wants to
it
know.
was
be in
back
my
in
raid?
it was more like when I was in university, I was so focused on getting platinums. I think I got to about 36, maybe between 36 to 39 platinums.
Wow, that is
Yeah, I
insane.
think I'm like level 30, no, I don't even know, 32 on the trophy level thing on PlayStation. But that was when I actually
Wow.
stopped as well because I think I was doing Dead Space 2, got all the trophies before that ultra hard mode where you get like free saves. And if you die after those free saves, and you have to start the game again.
Yep.
And it was kind of like during that, I was kind of like, I just don't see the point anymore because like it's literally like a job having to like do it. It
Yeah.
takes
Yeah.
hours and forever. But then there was, I think it was the last game that I properly grinded as well was the Naruto Shippuden fighting game, where you had to play like all the online stuff as well, and you had to grind and get all the characters, get to the top level, get all these weird little, those like in games now like Batman as well, where you get like the rotatable 3D figurine in like the
Oh yeah.
gallery. You have to
Yeah.
get all those. And the game, the multiplayer portion of Naruto for the one that I played, where it was like the end of the anime, it was so broken and the netcode was so laggy and horrible that I cannot believe I went through all of that pain. It was literally, I remember I bought that game pre owned and I sat there for 12 hours grinding that multiplayer. And after that, I remember that was the defining moment when I said, no, I will never do this again because I'm wasting my life. This is horrible. And
I haven't had a
now if you
shower in 2 weeks.
12 hours,
Yeah.
not 2 weeks. But then, like, if you look at my trophy list now, it is so disjointed. Like, you can see where, like, the end of 2012 when I finished university, where there's all these platinums, and then after that, it's just like 2%,
It's
12%,
okay,
like 20%.
Josh. It's okay. The
We
first
all grow
step
up at some
to
point.
getting sober is admitting you have a
I
problem.
don't want to be an adult.
Yeah, that's true. That's true too. The only time that I've ever been happy about getting like really huge achievements was actually it was recently, and I had just bought because it was a lot of fun. I was playing it with my friends. Trivial Pursuit Live.
Okay.
So you know the game Trivial Pursuit where it's like it's all
I
obviously
think I've heard
trivia.
of
You
it.
answer questions and you get wedges and stuff. Now those achievements are fun to get because it's like answer 100 history questions correct or science questions or like there I got one that was worth 100 or like 150 gamer score, which was like pretty much I think the biggest score that I've ever gotten in one thing. It was like clean up one of the boards of like all the correct answers when everyone else went out. And I was
Okay.
like, going against three other people, and it was like one of those where I was like, I'm fucking smart. Yes. That was the only time that I've ever gotten excited about anything like that. And then I went on and moved on with my life. So I didn't put it on
Nice,
my resume, and there's nothing else I can do with it.
but you got
Yeah.
it.
I mean, like with trophies as well. I mean, a lot of the ones that I still try and platinum just casually, kind of like Batman. Like I platinumed Arkham Asylum, Arkham City. I really want to do Arkham Knight as well.
Mm.
But it's one of those things where it's like it's because I'm such a fan of that series that sometimes the
Yeah,
platinum can be seen as a badge of honor as well and show that fandom towards that series.
yeah.
Well, like Dead Space, I platinumed Dead Space 1 and oh, this is one that I was really 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 proud of as well, which was Demon Souls, where I put my heart into that. And the
Whew.
really funny thing is that the if you get the platinum for Demon Souls, or maybe even I don't know if it's like with Dark Souls 1 and 2 as well, you actually discover more of the game by trying to get the trophies than if you just left them alone, just like completed the game and then
Hmm.
moved on from it. There's actually a lot more to those games if you try and seek out those trees, like more weapons and monsters and things. And I'm quite excited to do that with Bloodborne as well. But because I love that series so much, I like showing people and saying, well, look, this is what I got. I got these platinums because I loved it so much, and it shows that dedication to that series and that fandom as well. And so
I
it's kind
think
of a good thing
it's
for people too.
Yeah, I think it's also just like another excuse for you to go back and play the game without just going back and just playing through the story again. Because, yeah, that's exactly like even if I do get, if I perfect Batman Arkham Knight, I'm probably going to go back and play it again just because it's a really fun story and it's a really fun game. And if I happen to get all of the achievements in it, then so
If you
be it.
just so happen to come across every single Riddler
You
trophy,
know.
why
Maybe
not?
this one, maybe this one I'll put on my resume and say I 100%ed Batman
Yeah.
Arkham Knight.
Well, I didn't realize when I thought of this topic that I was in the presence of such achievement, I guess, connoisseurs of the sorts. So that's
We're just dedicated.
yeah,
That's what we like
clearly,
to call it.
because part of me is a little bit envious. Honestly, it's like I want to be a part of that culture because I feel like there's something to it. But
One of us. One of us.
exactly, man, and I've tried so many times, but it just doesn't work for me. So I guess, well, I
To
guess
each his
actually,
own.
in terms of Steam achievements as well, because I did slag them off. Do you guys feel like that is comparable to the console? Like, why is
No.
it? Why? What about
No.
consoles gives achievements and trophies that sort of flair or finesse that Steam just doesn't have?
I guess it's because like I'm such a dedicated console player. I mean, I do love my
Mm-hmm.
PC as well. I bought like a massive rig just so I can play a lot of these like harder software requirement games. But it's one of those things where with the Steam ones, it's a little bit more chillax because it depends on your like friends list and stuff as well. So
Yeah.
like if you have like a dedicated friends list to Steam, you can show off those achievements and work on those things. While like if you have a dedicated friends list on PlayStation or Xbox, then you'd probably aim at playing more games on those and then getting the achievements for those because then you've got more people to compete with and compare with and stuff. That's probably why I don't really go for the achievements on PC. Don't know about everybody
Mm-hmm.
else.
I don't play too much of PC gaming, so yeah, it's really console focused. I feel like that's where achievements started though, were on consoles.
Yeah,
So
Xbox
maybe
was the
that's
first.
Yeah, it was
yeah,
Xbox One.
yeah. So it probably just is in that right that it just kind of stuck with it. Whereas like
Yeah,
the PC, like people who play PC games are more like into playing the games. I guess they're more of like gamers than they are like achievement hunters. Shout out to Achievement Hunter, by the way.
Achievement Hunter is phenomenal. Yeah, love Achievement Hunter.
Do you remember when the achievements for Xbox came out and then Sony tried to copy them and they called them accomplishments?
Oh
Yes,
no, did
yes,
they? That's
And
they
they
did.
weren't
that's sad.
even really achievements either. They were kind of like you put the game like the only game I remember actually doing it was Dark Sector on PlayStation 3, and it wasn't like a built-in trophy system or anything like that. It was literally on disc achievements. So you only actually got those achievements showing in the game. You had to go to like the extras menu and then you'd see all your accomplishments. But that was the only way to see them. So they didn't that was when they hadn't even developed a trophy system. And it was so rubbish. It was like the laziest thing ever.
They're just like,
So they must have been like
this kind of
and
works.
like
Tack it on.
did Metal Gear Solid 4 have them? And then they actually patched them in. I'm sure they had like some kind of accomplishment thing too, but then eventually they did like an awesome patch where you got actual Metal Gear Solid trophies and stuff, but it was a horrible idea. That was just when they were like really jealous of Xbox because that's when they were
Yeah.
getting all the games were going to Xbox. That was one of the main reasons was because of achievements. It was a cool idea. I remember when I first played Gears of War at a friend's house and that first achievement popped up when I did my little temporary account. I was like, I kind of like this, 10G.
It's like
I'll
the
take that
sound is
10G.
fun, you know?
Bing.
Just
Oh, what
like
was it?
just like going bleep bloop.
What is it on
Yeah, that
Xbox
was
One?
it.
They definitely changed it a bit, right?
Oh, I
Yeah,
haven't
no, it's
heard
the
that.
same. It's like I don't even. I'm not even gonna try and
No,
do it.
please, please.
No,
on.
no, 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 no.
Go
You have so
on.
much rhythm today, man. You
No,
got
Once you do it,
no.
you can turn it into a ringtone and put
I'm
it on the
saying it in
website.
my head. I'm saying it in my head. I know this sound. And yeah, it's just like you just kind of like turn into an addict after that.
Yeah, I think. Well, I
You
think
hear
to
that
that
one little
point.
sound, that little intoxicant. All it takes is one, and you're hooked.
Yeah,
The seed
yeah.
is
Don't do
planted.
drugs.
Like crack cocaine. But
Don't do
I think
drugs.
to that point, I think it definitely has something to do with the presentation. It definitely started on Xbox, and I also remember that whole. I do not remember accomplishments. That's amazing, but I definitely do remember the phase in which all my PlayStation buddies were trying to convince me that trophies were a thing. And I'm like, yeah,
Go
all
home,
right,
kid.
buddy. Yeah, I'm like, all right, cutie. Yeah, sure, mate. And then I guess with Steam, it definitely has something to do with this aspect and with this culture that you need to kind of, I guess in a sense, it definitely would have something to do with the fact that PC is the only kind of open gaming platform. So even though Steam is the predominant, which, kind of has the virtual monopoly on PC gamers, the idea that like there is no unified PC culture in a sense, just because it is so sporadic and everyone has different builds, and in that sense it's not as kind of clear who's a part and who cares about achievements and stuff like that. And also it definitely is presentation in the sense that you don't get your bleep bloop when you get an achievement on Steam. You get a little like corner box with a little picture that has a little bit of like a short description. And even when you go to the community, or no, I don't think it's a community, but it's like your friend's snapshot kind of Facebook wall on Steam. It doesn't really do much of a job to be like, this guy just like 100%. I don't think if you're 100% a game on Steam, it doesn't even tell your friends that you did. It just tells you the achievements you got for that week or something. So it definitely has something to do with this whole idea of, I guess, presenting you and kind of conditioning you to want to get more, and also just the brag factor. There's a reason why Josh said he had 36 platinums, because that fucking means something. He's like, I earned this shit, motherfucker. 36.
Yeah,
Means
exactly.
Like
he's a virgin.
that means exactly. That means something.
I'm just kidding, Josh. I'm kidding.
Until I met your mother. But
Hey!
when
He's a saint.
now
he can give it. He can
was.
take it,
She
but he
was.
can give it.
But one thing to note actually.
Wow, cool story, bro. Keep going.
One thing to note really with the kind of like the progress of where achievements are going now. I don't know if you've ever noticed with Steam is if you unlock an achievement now, you actually get a trading card, and you can actually people are starting to do this whole Pokemon card thing now on Steam
Gosh.
Have you not noticed? Have you never seen this?
No, I know what you're
played...
talking about. I don't understand it at all. That's so crazy.
So, like, for every... I'm sure it's for every achievement you get now get, like, some kind of rarity trading card that kind of is part of the game.
Well, you can only get a max of 3 per game, right? For trading cards?
Can you? I thought it was, like you just get tons. But
Shit,
the fun...
They could change it.
I'm sure you can get a lot because, like, I played... I think it was Warframe, and I got, like, 20 because I pumped so many hours into that game.
Nice.
But then what they've done is they've kind of put, like, an actual, like, economy into it. So what you can do is you can actually put these cards up for bidding for maybe, like, 2 pence. Say 2 pence, and then people actually buy them off you, and then that means they can add them to collection, and then they could like sell more, and then maybe you want one and you could put that in your collection. And so Steam has kind of taken it a little bit further, and I know originally that on PlayStation, I'm sure they said this, or they did some kind of vote or survey where they were wanting to put some form of value behind trophies, or it might have been Xbox with achievements where they actually might have done this actually, so I'll bring this up in a second, but where you could actually use trophies to trade for discounts on games.
Gamer score or something, yeah.
Yeah, and then I think what Xbox have done now as well is they've done it with their... It's not called a Mii, is it? It's... What's the personal little 3D character you get? That's Mii's for Wii U.
Avatar.
Is it just called Avatar? Okay. But with that, you now, for achievements that you unlock, you get like helmets and costumes for your characters and stuff, which is kind of cool. So it's got that kind of... They're making it something different. It would be good if they did more, though. Like, if you did got, like a
discounts on games,
piece of DLC for free.
That would be cool.
Yeah, like say if you platinum their game,
that would be
and then
too
they
easy.
Said, well... but say if like it was, it's weird that we bring up Batman because Batman is one of these like latest ones, and it's one of the ones that's had so much like DLC story wise. Yeah. But if they said like, well, you platinum the game, you've done New Game Plus, you put so much out what would you say, attention into our product, we will put 5% off the next DLC for you because you've done that. And that'll be kind of cool because it shows your dedication to the game and their dedication to the consumer for putting that dedication into their game. So it means that you then want to buy their DLC instead of thinking, oh, so you made the DLC like after the game, so then we have to see the rest of it to enjoy it. But instead they're kind of going, well, because you achieved all this stuff, here's a little carrot on the end of the stick for doing so well, you know?
Yeah, well, it's never going to happen with those big developers. It's only going to happen with with little developers. I could see that happening with like some up and coming developer. That would be really cool.
Yeah, well, what you're saying in a sense where you want to reward more thoroughly people that like achievement hunt and all that, I agree with, but you got to be careful because I think what you're starting to get into a bit of a murky territory where ethically, like, how do you is that content on the disc that you're locking off? Because then I paid for the game,
That's
so
that's the thing,
you
yeah.
know.
Because I mean, it's all completely down to the dev and them actually being respectful to the consumer and making sure that the game that they plan to make is well. This is the thing because a
Game
lot of games
industry
aren't like that
respect
now.
what?
I know. I'm completely understand that, and that's a sad thing about the games industry now. But if we were in a nice alternate universe where they did respect us,
Yeah, yeah.
they did actually,
Yeah.
and it wasn't the publisher going, "Oh, I see that you've done like a really good ending to the game." Nudge to Azura's Wrath. Why don't we chop that out and sell it for
Yeah.
$10? You know, it's instead of doing that, actually creating the actual final product, but then actually focusing on the DLC, but then rewarding people for actually playing your entire game, and then even just giving them like a little discount through the trophies by using their points. That would be a really good progress. And so we obviously, as Alexis said, we probably will never see that. But I mean, at least say like Steam with their little trading cards is kind of like you could, because the way you could see it is you could sell all your trading cards and then use that money that you've made, that nickels and dimes, to use
To buy
against
games.
DLC.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what people are doing, and that's a really really good idea.
I do that exactly. I save up like $5, wait for summer sale, and then go ham. It's pretty good.
Yeah, and so if you save up all these trading cards on Steam, you can just shove them all in the market, maybe get $5, and then you can actually buy like a game in like the Christmas sale or something that you've been waiting for all year. So it's a really good idea, really. Steam have actually kind of nailed it in some aspect.
Yeah, for sure. All right, there you go. That's achievements and trophies and Steam achievements. There you go. I'll put that in there, just because there's some valid points for Steam achievements, maybe becoming more of a thing, perhaps. But we'll have to wait and see. Our final topic for today, we'll be talking about the idea of, I guess, I've been thinking about this quite a bit because I actually, in Australia we have a magazine. Actually, it's in the States as well, but I think it might have stopped in the States. But it's called Game Informer. Is that still a thing?
Okay. Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Go for it.
I think
Well,
so, maybe.
Yeah. Well, I used to read it. Now I don't because it's a magazine. Why would I read a magazine? But back in the
I
day,
understand it so much.
yeah, back in the
Movable
day,
printed type?
I used to flip open this thing with paper and it had words on it. It's crazy. The kids love it. But yeah,
It's like Back to the Future. This is a dust jacket.
exactly.
It actually makes me feel really bad because like every Christmas my family get me like a games magazine like as a stocking present. They'll be like here's your gift, but then here's like your magazine, and I never read them. Like I've got them all like on my shelf, and they come in like the little cardboard like sleeve thing with the poster and stuff. I think the one I've got on my shelf is like Alien Colonial Marines, and I really wanted to read it, but I remember just like going on IGN or Kotaku or wherever and just like reading on there instead, because you can now. You can get all
Yeah.
that news and information
Here's
for free.
gaming
So
news
there's, like,
that is 3 months old. Merry Christmas.
and the funny thing too is like my girlfriend's really into getting Empire magazine, and she'll maybe get it for like one article, and then she'll just like leave them all out, and there's like this giant pile of Empire magazines. Like, what do you do with them now? Like, you obviously just recycle them, but with a website, you don't even need to do that. You know, you just go on the website, read it, and then you're done. But with magazines, it's so archaic in a way, and it's kind of depressing because I did used to love magazines. Don't know, did you guys used to read magazines like
Oh,
just
yeah,
gaming stuff?
I have an
Yeah, I
NSYNC
know.
magazine. Like one of the collectible
Really?
ones from like the year 2000 or 2001 or something like that.
I think I have like a
time.
Games Master one like hiding in my shed somewhere. Oh, those were awesome.
Anyway.
Was it Nintendo Power? Those were really
Yeah,
good too.
that was the one.
Josh,
that
shut up. That's
shut
not
down.
the topic. Magazines aren't the topic.
No, I
Are they
mean
not?
it's
Oh.
definitely a valid topic. But I brought it up because
You have
I
strong opinions about them, though, apparently.
yeah, clearly.
I have strong opinions about everything. I'll
Yeah,
talk
you
to
do.
death about anything you bring up.
No, I read an article back in an old ancient Game Informer back in the day, and the guy basically like described like it didn't really resonate with me at the time, but I've just thought about it more recently because the idea that like basically he plays every game on easy because the idea is, well, I want to have fun, and if you play a game for fun, you're going to have the most fun just kind of rolling over people and just kind of killing things and having no degree of challenge. But I guess the idea behind that, or the easy counterpoint to that, is just like part of the gaming medium is having that challenge and overcoming that sense of fulfillment that's unique to the medium entirely. And so I guess, how does difficulty weigh into your guys' experience when you play, I guess, any FPS or third-person action game? Like, is that a big decision for you before you boot up the game and you actually get into the story and the gameplay itself, do you actually spend some time thinking about what difficulty do I choose, or do you just kind of have like a set archetype? It's like I always play normal or I always play hard or whatever.
I just usually always play normal to start with, and then after, because obviously a console gamer, so it would be different if I were a PC gamer and bought new games all the time and we're constantly playing different games.
Well, in what way though is it
Um,
different?
no, I mean if I were a PC gamer and I was constantly just buying these little like you know
Oh, you mean like
$10,
smaller
$15
titles? Yeah,
games.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and just constantly playing new games. But I buy games pretty much with the mindset that I'm really only playing the ones that I'm going to play, you know,
For the next few
at
months.
least twice or even
Yeah.
more than that, or I can come back to a year later and still play. So I'm fine playing it on normal the first time around just to get the story through and be able to see what it's about, and then go back through and play it like on a harder difficulty if I feel like it was a little bit too easy or I want a little bit more of a challenge or something like that. Um, yeah, I'm not like one of those people that's like I always have to play it on easy or I always have to play it on hard. I just pretty much just start the game up and just burn through it.
Yeah. It's not. It doesn't. The decision doesn't weigh on you as much as it
Yeah,
clearly
I'm not
does.
like
Yeah.
laying up at night saying, "Oh, what do I
Yeah.
do?
God, I
Do
should
I
have
do it
picked wrong
on
difficulty.
easy?"
Actually, an interesting point to add to that actually as well is this wasn't a thing back when I read the article, but it most certainly is now. Where if you feel like you picked a too hard difficulty and you're struggling, you can just tone that down, or
Oh yeah.
alternatively, you can put it up. There's pretty much every single AAA game that I've played most recently allows you to just alter the difficulty on the fly. I think the only kind of attachment to that, again, linking it back to the previous topic, is you don't like. Let's say you start the game on the hardest difficulty to get that trophy at the end. If you switch, to the easiest difficulty halfway
Mhm.
through, you won't get the achievement, obviously.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's the only kind of stigma there, that they won't let you get away with that.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, I share a kind of similar point of view. I certainly don't go for like the hardest difficulty straight away, because I feel like a lot of the time, and you find this at like trade shows a lot as well. If you've ever been to like a PAX or any
Yeah.
any type of gig where you can play some of this stuff before it comes out a bit earlier,
Yeah.
they tend to put it always on the easiest difficulty. So
Oh yeah.
so you don't have to struggle too hard. You can just kind of play the game, and you're left with a better impression, I think, as well.
Oh yeah.
Right? Yeah, totally.
That's how
And
they sell you on the game. Oh yeah.
exactly. They're like, "Oh, you did so well, man." It's like, okay, that's cheeky.
Yeah.
But I do feel like a lot of the time, it's kind of described as such, but normal seems to be the way the game was actually designed. And I
Yeah.
guess easy and hard and normally super hard, which follow after that, whatever
Super hard.
whatever it's called, legendary, or just what it's normally unique to the game. So like it's just called
Mhm.
brutal, or just fucking you're gonna die.
Yeah. Don't even
Yeah,
bother. Put the
yeah,
controller down. Go outside.
yeah, exactly right. Usually, to me, they feel too artificial, and this is a critique that I don't think you can consistently apply. A lot of games do it really nicely, and it actually does enhance the experience. One that comes to
Mhm.
mind, especially for me, is The Last of Us. Playing that game on the hardest difficulty, actually feels more like you should, that feels like the intended way to play it, because it is about this survival aspect of it. Ammo is more scarce,
Yeah.
everything about it fits the kind of.
Scarce.
It's not
Oh,
just
I'm
like
sorry, I'm sorry.
the enemies are just real
Scarce,
difficult.
scarce. Yeah, yeah,
Slapped you
Oh
on the
God,
face with a dictionary
Josh.
there.
yeah.
Sorry.
Thank
Says
you.
says the guy from England.
Yeah, we're all proper.
We will
Quite,
obey
yes,
it.
indubitably.
Spiffing Cocoa Chums. All we need now is Bickies. There you
Oh my
go.
Oh, there
God.
you go.
Please stop.
You
Tell
know,
us, what do you think then, Josh?
Bickies in Australia
Oh,
actually is
oh,
colloquial
Alexia's
for
gonna let me talk.
ecstasy.
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, one thing like back in the day, I know that I have a tradition where if it's God of War, I have to play it on hard because, as Jay's saying, like in some way some games are developed to play on a certain difficulty and it just feels normal in that sense. And so like I remember when I played God of War 1 and played it on normal and it felt a little too easy and like some of the gameplay felt like it wasn't showing its full potential. And then when I played hard, it's like, oh, that's what a spike does. Instead of like falling on it and then just like flashing like Sonic and losing some rings, it actually like murders you. Like if you play on a hard difficulty. So that was something that I kind of realized was like, okay, I'll play like all the God of Wars like on that difficulty. And then when with like the original Deus Ex, that game was meant to be played on like super hard. And then if you have Deus Ex Human Revolution, there's actually a difficulty called This is Deus Ex, which is the uber hard difficulty.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where they generally do have like a design choice where the uber hard one is actually how you're supposed to play, which is kind of cool. But then with what's kind of interesting now is you don't have that much. Well, at least I found that with things like Bloodborne or Demon Souls or even Metal Gear Solid Phantom Pain, where it's now adaptive difficulty, which is kind of unusual. So they don't actually give you the choice. They'll generally say, like, there'll be like a question at the start when you actually boot the game. They'll say, have you played a third-person shooter? And then you could go, yes.
Yeah,
or it'll say, I played a little. Or it'll say, I prefer Barbie Horse Adventure Rescue Adventure or something like that. and and then what it'll do is it'll then adapt the game like to your playstyle in a sense somehow. I don't know how it really works, which is kind of cool. I mean, it's kind of interesting that's the way they do it now. So it's not just like a solid kind of choice of difficulty. They've actually given you the proc that they want you to experience. But then say if you really suck, the game starts to tone itself down a little bit. But then if you do really well, it starts to like get even harder, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think it's all about like minimizing that artificial feel to it. And I feel like a really nice game that and kind of a bit of a drama surrounding it as well was Metro Last Light, in the sense that it had its difficulties and all that, and you were supposed to, well, not supposed to, but the devs kind of said you should play it on the hardest difficulty, but it also had this like survival mode. I don't know specifically what it was called again, but it might have
mode.
What's that? Ranger mode. Yes, thank you. Yeah.
But you had to buy it.
Yeah, you had to pre-order it, I believe. So that was kind of the drama surrounding that. But because ideally, Ranger mode was how you were meant to play. You didn't have like all the directions. The game didn't really hold your hand. It was all about that survival, that being in that post-apocalyptic dystopia, right? And also another one that comes to mind in terms of what you're talking about, the adapting type thing, is Dishonored as well. I feel like that game really did try to... it wasn't necessarily adapting to how shit or how good you were. It wasn't really like a skill level thing, but it was the way you kind of played. And it was embedded in the world. So if you were playing more aggressively, it would be like, all right, so here's more dudes. It would kind of like respond in that way. And I feel like, and obviously that made the game harder. So I feel like what you're talking about is really interesting because it minimizes this idea of like artificial, just like scaling up of damage and health, as opposed to this like really embedded organic flow of difficulty that's almost unnoticeable to the player because it's just tailored to how they're playing the game and where they're at in terms of skill level.
It's also kind of like in-game world progression as well, which makes you feel like the AI is actually aware of you. So like with Metal Gear Solid Phantom Pain, for instance, if you use the sniper rifle a lot and shoot people in the face, they actually start to equip themselves with helmets, which is something that really kind of like shoved me out of my comfort zone. And then I was reading an article about how a guy also started to use, I think it was landmines on Jeeps, and they started to bring like heavier vehicles in and stuff like that, which is really, really awesome. So it's kind of cool when like you notice that the AI is kind of like, he keeps like killing us this certain way, let's try and find a way to stop him in return. And then you've got to try and like up your tactics, or adapt. And that's the main key word there, adapt. And so yeah, a lot of games are doing that. As you said, I'm sure Dishonored did that, didn't it? Did it kind of like change things when... I'm not too sure what it was though. Was it like ninjas? It like threw ninjas at you or something like that? If you like was really stealthy all the time, like they would try and kill you at some point.
Well, I think the idea behind it was, and I really hope they apply this in 2, because it was such a really nice idea. I don't think it was executed as well as it would have been, but the philosophy was really nice. Basically, the idea was that like if you're playing stealth, then because the lore is that you're playing this assassin character going through and assassinating people. So if you're playing stealth and you're killing your targets in such a way that doesn't implicate an assassination, then your future targets are going to have less guards. They're going to have less defenses because that's the point. But you're not like you're doing this in a way that is inconspicuous. Whereas, as opposed to if you just went in there and killed everyone and just fucked shit up, the future targets that you have on your kind of hit list are like, oh, I should probably get more guys because this guy's coming after me. So that was kind of the idea behind it. And yeah, I think what you said with Metal Gear was that sounds really awesome. And in terms of like difficulty really having an impact on gameplay, that's I think honestly the kind of ideal scenario you want, because I think too often we do get games that kind of like you do the kind of hardest mode, and you just sometimes it just feels like there hasn't really been too much thought in terms of gameplay really designed around this, and that can sometimes be a bit of an issue if you have to grind through it to get a trophy or something. One that comes to mind, I don't know if you guys played COD 4 Mile High Club on the hardest difficulty, veteran.
Oh,
it's just
man. Is that the one where you're on the plane and you have to like get all the way to the end of
through
it?
the different levels of the plane.
God.
It's like it's that
like
that
a
level
day.
of just wanting to like murder yourself. It's like it's so just horrendously grindy and horrible because the difficulty isn't like it's not hard. It's just kind of bullshit. Like everything is just ridiculously like you die from 2 hits maybe. It's insanity.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, say with Dead Space, as I brought up earlier, with when you have to play it on hardcore, where in Dead Space 2 you had free saves, and if you died at any point, I think after those free saves, then you had to like start the game again because you would have none left. But then, like in Dead Space 3, it did auto saves, but if you died, that was it. One death, you're gone. And I think it was like 3 hits, and you were kaput, like you were saying with Call of Duty. And so it is kind of scary when they they do that, and then because you end up getting because if you're playing a full game like Dead Space and you get right to the end and you're like, I'm gonna get this platinum, as you were just saying with like the trophies before, and it's this stupid difficulty type one, and then you die, and then you put like 9 hours in and you've got to go all the way back and do it again. I would literally throw my pad out the window. I'd be like, screw this, I'm playing Jenga.
Because Jenga is clearly the most difficult
the alternative to Dead Space.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. I've never not once played Dead Space and not gone to Jenga. I mean, that's just the natural transition, obviously.
Have you ever done that, Alexis? Have you ever played like a stupidly hard game and then put loads of hours into it, and maybe just the Mile High Club thing, or have you actually done like a full like? Isn't it like the Batman one as well, where it's got the New Game Plus where you've got to play it all like without the counters on like the enemies' heads and stuff? Like that was frustrating as well because you've got so much stuff you have to like keep an eye on and stuff. And I think that's what I'm just doing at the moment, and it's so hard. It's like I'm like barely alive by the end of fights in Arkham Knight, for instance.
Nope, the games are all really easy for me. I'm really good at them.
Oh shit.
No, yeah, I did play a little bit of Arkham City, like on hard, obviously, same way that I tell you I played normal, and then I just go back and do like the hard difficulty where it does take off those counters, and
because you got balls.
Yeah, I mean, legendary Halo stuff, not ones that I've actually gone through everything because I really suck. I am horrible at video games, probably better than a normal person, but definitely not one of those people who can just run through like a level of like legendary Halo or like the Mile High Club one. No, there's no way I'd beat that stuff. I'd try because you could say you did it, you could say you tried.
But, I watched your Mad Max stream and I saw your ass get beaten in that first fight.
Well, also I was like 5 shots of fireball deep at that point. Nice. I definitely didn't have my hand-eye coordination going on anymore.
Oh.
I mean, that's the ideal way of playing Mad Max, so there you go. All right, cool. Well, that should wrap us up for that. In terms of difficulty, I think the prevailing opinion there is that you can certainly have games that are hard, but it's like kind of like the Dark Souls type thing. It needs to be challenging, not unfairly and artificially kind of
right.
just like worse, because that is going to make the game less fun, I think.
But even with like things
Yes,
like Dark
absolutely.
Souls and even Destiny and so, and I think this as well, Lexus, with like Halo too, like when you play a Legendary, is that
Hmm.
maybe now these difficulties where it's got like co-op involved, that the damage like requirements to enemies is because the game's expecting you to play with other people to overcome it.
Oh
Yeah.
So
yeah,
like
yeah.
I remember when I played, I believe it was Halo Reach, and I loved the game to death, and on normal and stuff. Then I tried it on Legendary, and I played it by myself, and it was so hard to break through like elite shields and things by using like the normal guns or like even
Yeah.
like a sniper rifle. But then when you brought more people along, it
Of
actually became
course.
easy because you were cooperating. And then it's the same with things like Destiny 2 or even Dark Souls, where it gets like uberly hard, but then when you play with people where you do have that ability to bring people into the game, it feels like it's right because it kind of goes back to normal difficulty because you're adding up that damage through another person or another
Hmm.
person or another person in like a group, and then it does feel
Yeah,
just
and you're not
normal
getting
again.
stuck at the same checkpoints anymore. You're
Yeah.
actually like you're getting to the next checkpoint and you're not having to do the same level like 100 different times by yourself. Yeah.
Hmm.
There you go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank
We're
you
all
very
in
much for listening
this
to this episode
together.
of the Singularity Pod. Oh, we're stopping that. Okay,
Oh my
Singularity
god.
podcast.
He was going on. Why did you
He
start?
was
You
gonna
had him
do
on
it.
like a
It would
Robert
have been so.
Bruce.
It would have been such a groovy outro, man. I don't know. That's okay.
Nice. It
Thank
was
you,
sweet.
ladies and gentlemen, lasses and lads, for listening today. Bunch, before we leave, we'd like it if you checked out our other stuff that we kind of work on as well during the interim between these lovely podcasts. So, Alexis, want to give us some shout outs real quick?
I'm not really. I don't do anything.
No, what's coming up though?
Uh,
You've
what's
got your
coming
Mad
up?
Max review coming out
I know.
potentially.
Yeah,
I was
Mad
trying to
Max.
get it
That's true.
to say
I'm
that, but
sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, reviewing Mad Max. That should be
oh
out
yeah,
this
really,
week,
that's awesome.
hopefully. Oh yeah, Mad Max. And yeah, so keep an eye out for all of that.
Nailed it, Josh. What you got?
I mean, as always, just follow me on Twitter, noir_proxy. But at the same time,
Don't do it.
I'm awesome. I'm such an awesome person to talk to.
Well, that's
I am
debatable.
in depths with the games, but so hurt my feelings. But at the same time, I have just uploaded 30 minutes of Mad Max gameplay. So if you are curious about seeing all that lovely in-game worldness and game mechanics and all of that kind of thing, then you can check that out. I don't know if it's gone public yet. We've also got, I believe, the Metal Gear Solid 20 minutes gameplay 2 and Until Dawn, which we should definitely talk about in the future at some point because that
Yes.
looks like a really awesome. Well, because we had our initial impression, but it was like one of those things that's completely flipped itself on its head now.
Oh yeah.
And hopefully, as well, I'm going to be doing a few more little kind of like third party games that we've been, because obviously we were covering things like all the Steam like indie titles, so hopefully we'll see some more of those by me as well. Hopefully.
And
Awesome.
hopefully maybe more Mad Max.
Oh yeah, I mean this is the thing because me and Alexis want to do, well, I want to do a one-to-one discussing that, or Halo. We should so do
Yeah.
that, one-to-one argument on
Oh
Halo
shit.
2.
The great debate. Let's do it.
Bring your books,
Debate show.
bitch.
Let's go.
Bring your books.
Okay.
I'll be the moderator, Mr. Speaker. All right. And yeah, for me, just again, look out for a couple videos coming up. I got an editorial coming out later in the week. It's a bit late, so I apologize for that. But just been really busy with school and all that other boring shit that isn't the games, obviously. So, but keep an eye out for that. Follow us all on Twitter. It's all on the screen below. And go check us out because that's how you'll find all our content and the other stuff we do. So that's it for today, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, thank you for watching. You're not. She is not good. You're not on time. You're not on point with your rhythm, Alexis.
What?
It's ridiculous.
Me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
look, we're gone.
And
We'll
I
see you
throw in
next
this
week.
Australian accent thing going
Goodbye,
on.
my
and everything.
beautiful children. There you go.
Let's
We'll
go
see
get
you
ice
next
cream.
time.
Let's get
Ice cream. Ice cream.
Nailed it.